Yeah. This is kind of like a prayer going out to all the peeps close to me and dear to me, the ones that's been there for my whole life, the ones that came later in my life. Yeah. I appreciate all the blessings God has given me, and I want to repay it to you like this. Clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. Introducing
potential legal action against Donald Trump's campaign by the estate of Memphis music legend Isaac Hayes. The son of the R&B performer and songwriter says the family plans to sue over the use of the popular Hayes song.
All right, you're not going to believe it, but yes, that song y'all been hearing the whole time. Hold on, here I'm coming, hold on. Donald Trump jacked Isaac Hayes music, and with simply no remorse whatsoever. I mean, campaigns know what to do. Think about this. You heard stories about Kamala Harris got permission from Beyonce. Permission, yeah, that's what you need. You need permission to play other people's music like that. I mean, to use their music for your campaign. You're kind of mixing up their, face, likeness, and all of that, sound, character with you. And let alone it's just the music in itself too. You still have to make an agreement about the music through the licensing companies, but they always have a right to refuse you. But this dude, hear the story. The story is hilarious. Check this out.
Campaign by the estate of Memphis music legend Isaac Hayes. The son of the R&B performer and songwriter says the family plans to sue over the use of the popular Hayes song. Our Shay Simon has that story.
At an NRA rally in 2022, you hear the song Hold On, I'm Coming playing as presidential candidate Donald Trump takes the stage. Fast forward to 2024, and Isaac Hayes' family has now sent this letter demanding the Trump campaign hold on to playing the song. Written by music legends Isaac Hayes and David Porter, the Sam and Dave song was originally released in 1966 in Memphis. Today, they say Trump's campaign has played it 134 times across the country.
Well, first of all, that's the power and the appeal of...
That is crazy how they know the exact amount of times he's played
Memphis music. I must say that.
This letter lays out the family demands. $3 million paid in licensing fees. A clear statement that the Hayes estate does not endorse Trump, plus all videos featuring the song must be taken down.
Secondly, I am told that from a copyright perspective, copyrighted music cannot be used and should not be used without the consent of the copyright owners. And certainly Isaac Hayes was one, and my good friend David Porter is the other.
Isaac Hayes III shared this statement online. Quote, "We repeatedly asked Donald Trump, the RNC, and his representatives not to use Hold On, I'm Coming. Donald Trump represents the worst in integrity and class with his disrespect and sexual abuse of women and racist rhetoric."
Oh, wow. That is cold. That is cold. They actually put it to Donald Trump like that. That's what news media is supposed to be putting to him. They're supposed to ask him questions. I mean, I guess they ask him, but given the amount of lies Donald Trump tells on the regular, it's hard to just always interview him about the lies because you want to get some substance in there, right? About policy and things like that. But no, you just can't get it. I guess it's just the way it is.
The letter gives the Trump campaign until Friday to respond. For your news leader in Memphis.
Dang, that's this Friday. I believe that's 7 days from now. Hold on now. But actually, let me see here. There is another report, and check this out. Here we go.
Isaac Hayes III posted on Twitter, We, the family of Isaac Hayes Enterprises, represented by Walker & Associates, are suing Donald Trump and his campaign for 134 counts copyright infringement for the unauthorized use of the song Hold On, I'm Coming at campaign rallies from 2022 to 2024. We demand the cessation of use, removal of all related videos, a public disclaimer, and payment of $3 million in licensing fees by August 16, 2024.
Yo, this, yo, hold on. As a matter of fact, hold on. Ari Writer says nobody care about no Isaac Hayes family. He gonna just make us vote even more for Trump. Oh, really? He gonna make you vote for Trump? Well, I think, hey, go ahead and vote for Trump. At least you're one of the people that vote, right? Think about how many people don't vote. How many people you think don't vote in the U.S., Ari? So I'll give you that. But, for some reason, for a person that's very confident in voting, um, the candidate Trump doesn't seem to be so confident at voting. I mean, he say the elections are rigged. That's what Trump said before he became the president the first time. So, what do you feel about that? All right, do you feel like it's going to be rigged, or do you feel like it's going to be rigged, but you're going to vote anyway? Which one do you think? Because I don't think the elections are rigged. I think Donald Trump lies about that. That's why I'm voting anyway. You see what I mean? I think he's telling lies, but I'm curious what it's like on the other side of the aisle when you hear your candidate say it's rigged. You know, I mean, so what do you do in that situation when your candidate tells you the election's rigged? Let me see here. What do he say? I say, yeah, want to sue Trump? Well, he can get there. I think actually, to be honest, I'm gonna let this play a little bit more, bro. But I believe honestly, I think he started that last year. The process started last year. So this has been, I guess, I believe, I'm going to let it play a little bit, but I believe he got 5 days to, make some kind of conclusion, maybe settlement or something like that, or it's going to be ordered to a jury trial already because he's filed it. But let's play so we get a chance to hear what the cold facts are. This is Brian Taylor. He just covered it. So let's just hear. He did a good breakdown. So
and his campaign for 134 counts copyright infringement for the unauthorized use of the song Hold On, I'm Coming at campaign rallies from 2022 to 2024. We demand the cessation of use, removal of all related videos, a public disclaimer.
Oh, wait a second. I think Ari is just a troll. Ari, you got your facts wrong, man. Donald Trump was saying that before he even ran. He was saying that during his. You want me to find it for you, or hold on? I see that he's switching the subject. So let me see something here. All right, let's just do this for Ari because Ari needs some help, some facts, and that's okay. We do it all for the facts. So let me see here. Let's just spread this little bit of news. Let's see here. Here go the cold facts. Let me know if the audio's good.
Yes, Donald Trump made claims about elections being rigged before he became president. During his 2016 presidential campaign, Trump frequently asserted that the election process was rigged against him. For instance, in the weeks leading up to the 2016 election, and that the media was biased against him, thus rigging the election in favor of his opponent, Hillary Clinton. Additionally, Trump had made similar claims about the electoral process in previous years. For example, in 2012, he tweeted that the election was a total sham and a travesty after Mitt Romney lost to Barack Obama. These statements are part of a broader pattern of Trump's rhetoric concerning the integrity of the election process.
Okay, so let me just because everybody has a right to their opinion, but when they find out that they've stated something that's wrong, then they got to make a little change, just to keep it real, right? But so that would be, I say Trump didn't say they were rigged before he won, dumb. That's what Ari called me so easily. Although Ari, it appears you're the dum dum because it says it right here. There's stories all over. I mean, you really have to work hard to avoid that. So there it is. And here's the thing. Um, you before you get further, you could use the chat and everything, but I just want you to address one thing. When you said Trump did not say the elections were rigged before he became president, were you right or were you wrong? Were you right or were you wrong, Ari? I mean, what's evidence? What's evidence of it not being rigged? The dude said it. You want to see a video of him saying it, Ari? Okay, so let's pivot a little bit to Ari. So, because these are Trumpsters, and it's good to get a Trumpster up here so you get to see how a Trumpster behaves. Essentially, name calling when they don't have facts to present, or when the facts don't present their own story. I mean, notice I haven't called Ari anything except by his name. So far, I've provided more evidence than he has. So I would have to say, Ari, you're wrong. You got to disprove it. But we're not talking about Hillary. Ari, you said this. We're talking about the full statement that you made, which is on the screen, and I'm sure you could read it because you wrote it. Trump didn't say they were rigged before he won, dum dum. That's what you wrote. But Trump did say that. You see? He said it several times. So if you can't admit you were wrong about that, then you probably wouldn't admit you were wrong about anything. So on that note, I'm going to move on. But thanks for your participation. I think it could have been better, but you got to, be a little more honest, brother. Now, if you're a brother. But here we go.
And
Let's
payment
go
of
back.
$3 million prizes represented by Walker and Associates are suing Donald Trump and his campaign for 134 counts copyright infringement for the unauthorized use of the song Hold On, I'm Coming at campaign rallies from 2022 to 2024. We demand the cessation of use, removal of all related videos, a public disclaimer, and payment of $3 million in licensing fees by August 16, 2024. Failure to comply will result in further legal action. And then he attached the legal notices to the tweet. And according to those notices attached, Hayes' family is demanding that the Trump campaign cease and desist any use of the song or any IP owned by Hayes, the removal of all videos featuring the song, an official statement by the Trump campaign widely distributed amongst its social media platforms, an official disclaimer that the family and estate of Mr. Isaac Hayes have no authorized, endorsed, or permitted use of their IP, and finally, payment of $3 million for licensing associated with past uses, noting that, quote, the normal fee for these infringements will be 10 times as much if we litigate, starting at $150,000 per use. It's noted that the Trump campaign has until...
Wow, let me go back just a tiny bit on that. Now, it says, cease and desist any use of the song and or of any intellectual property of Isaac Hayes Enterprises or the estate of Mr. Isaac Hayes. You know what? It just occurred to me that Ari doesn't really care if somebody steals from him. Because when somebody stole from Isaac Hayes, he was like, I mean, he don't even know Trump personally. And he's like, man, Trump can steal from anybody, y'all. It doesn't matter. That's my candidate. It doesn't matter if he steals. What matters most is that immigrants don't steal. I got it, Ari. I got it. All right. Remove all the videos featuring the song on the attached Exhibit A and any other website or similar outlets throughout the entire world. Yeah, he got to remove it or he's going to get sued or pay. He's going to pay a fee. Really, I think it's closer to paying a fine now or a fee or a settlement. Remove any inference of the song connected to Donald Trump, his campaign, I mean, damn, they have to do a lot. Release an official statement by the Trump campaign and widely distribute amongst its social media platforms an official disclaimer that the family and the estate of Mr. Isaac Hayes have not authorized, endorsed, or permitted use of the Isaac Hayes Enterprises property at any point now or in perpetuity throughout the universe. Pay to our client. This is for pay to our client via the offices a certified check or wire collectively in the license fee amount not less than $3 million from the parties named herein, which is a very discounted fee for the normal license fee associated with this many multiple uses. Wow. The normal fee for these infringements would be 10 times as much if we litigate, starting at $150,000 per use. Damn. That is a lot of money if he wants to go to trial, I guess. So my guess on that, I think it's a week from now. It's a week from now. He got to make a choice, or they're going to schedule a date. I think he's going to do the right thing. I think he's going to do all of the above here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe that's his only option because, Mr. Trump is known to basically do this kind of stuff, take stuff to court that he knows damn well he shouldn't have done when most people settle. So if he takes this past it with that kind of reputation, he's likely to get the most extreme fine in my view of it. So let's go on then. So let me see here. What's next? You know what's next. This is ridiculous. Trump. There's more Trump news. And you know what it is? It's Trump lying about a stupid helicopter crash that never happened. That never really happened. It was a landing, an emergency landing, but it wasn't a crash. And Trump had some conversation about somebody, but here it is.
Tonight on Q2, truth behind the lies.
People are less likely to learn facts. People are more likely to learn stories.
We take a look back at Trump and Bozeman and the increasing number of lies coming from both parties. But do they matter? Plus, a worse...
Maybe they matter. I think they matter, but in any case...
The dust is settling from former President Donald Trump's nearly 90-minute speech Friday night here in Montana. And tonight we're teaming up with PolitiFact to fact-check that address. The nonpartisan website dove into 5 of the former president's claims, including 3 that deal with immigration.
Legal aliens are stampeding into America by the millions and millions. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails.
PolitiFact says federal data isn't complete, but it identifies just over 100,000 non-citizens with criminal convictions arrested by Customs and Border Protection since 2021, and not all of them were let in.
Sure, some migrants who do manage to cross the border do have criminal backgrounds, but that is not the millions and millions.
That's just one of the claims PolitiFact researched. You can find the others right now by checking out this story on our website. We also checks on both sides of the aisle. Tonight we attempt to get at the truth behind lying in politics. Why does it happen? And is there a strategy behind it? With more on that, here's our Charlie Kleps.
It's no secret that politicians tend to bend the truth, and it happens with candidates on both sides of the aisle. But the question is now, how did we get here? And does it matter?
Nice girl.
It's almost like we've been divided into 2 teams. There's the blue team and the red team.
In a time where America is more divided than ever.
But Donald Trump doesn't agree. In Donald Trump's mind, it's always the blue team. That's what Donald Trump thinks. It's always the blue team doing bad. If you're a protester on the blue side, you're worse. You're always crying foul. You're always, it's like the gaslighting is real. But in any case, let's flip to the next one here.
Trump's tale about a frightening
This is the chopper story.
helicopter ride with former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown. Trump told the story last week.
I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was, he was a little concerned.
Yo, dude just is whole making up stories. Just freely. Yo, check out what Willie Brown said. It's so funny. He said, if you're into creative writing, then you would tell a story like this.
But two people on board that chopper say Trump's forgetting a key detail. Brown was never there. Instead, Los Angeles Councilman Nate Holden says he was on the chopper with Trump as they discussed a failed bid to revitalize LA's iconic Ambassador Hotel. Former Trump organization official.
So basically, Trump confused one black guy with the other black guy, but then told a whole story about it. And guess what? Even the right black guy, once they found out who that dude was, he even said Trump is full of shit and it was a lie. Check it.
Barbara Russ confirms Holden's account, and it lines up with what Willie Brown himself told our John Berman last week.
Have you ever been in a helicopter that made an emergency landing with Donald
He's like, no.
Trump?
No.
Have you ever been in a helicopter with Donald Trump?
No.
You have no memory of anything like that ever happening?
No.
Damn.
There you go. And with me now.
He's like, why do you keep asking me this dumbass question? No, no, no. Now, this is the dude that was actually on it.
Nate, let me start with you. Tell us what happened on board this helicopter ride around 1990. You were there.
I was there for sure. I mean, I don't look like Willie Brown. I'm not Willie Brown. I'm Nate Holden. And I was on that helicopter with Bob.
He said he don't look like Willie Brown. He's not Willie Brown. He's Nate Holden.
And D. Donald. We called him D. Donald then. And as we launched from the launching pad and in flight, Donald Trump was saying, look at that skyline. Oh my God, it's the most beautiful skyline in the world, and I'm part of it. Fine. He kept talking and talking. And shortly after we were in flight, the pilot, first before that, he said, I got two pilots. I have two in case one dies.
Listen to this. This is the worst kind of business story you want to hear. Look at what he leaks. I don't even believe he leaked it intentionally, but listen to this. This is serious.
The other will save our lives. And the pilot said, shut up. So waving back at him, quiet. And Donald kept talking. He says, quiet, the hydraulic system just failed. And I'm trying to land this helicopter manually. And we had an emergency landing in Linden, New Jersey, right near where I grew up, and I knew the area. And that's what happened on that flight. And when they landed the flight, he was still white as snow. And
Trump
I was very upset. And I started raising a lot of noise at the mechanics who maintained those helicopters. I asked him by mean time to failure qualification of those helicopters, and given the fact that one had crashed about 6 months earlier, killing 3 of his top executives. He should have been demanding that they do reliability.
You hear that? Did you hear that?
Those helicopters, and given the fact that one had crashed about 6 months earlier, killing 3 of his top executives.
One helicopter crash, killing 3 of his top executives. Yes, that's what the man just said. And that was not too long before this emergency landing. Check it out. Listen again.
Qualification of those helicopters, and given the fact that one had crashed about 6 months earlier.
6 months earlier, a helicopter had crashed that killed 3 of Trump's executives. That's what he's saying.
Executives. He should have been demanding that they do reliability, that they determine mean time to failure, and keep those flights, those helicopters in flight.
You hear that? Did y'all hear that? Peep it again.
That flight. And when they landed the flight, he was still white as snow. And
Trump
I was very upset. And I started raising a lot of noise at the mechanics who maintained those helicopters. I asked him by mean time to failure qualification of those helicopters, and given the fact that one had crashed about 6 months earlier, killing 3 of his top executives. He should have been demanding that they do reliability, that they determine mean time to failure and keep those flights.
The man said that he's the one that was on the aircraft, on the helicopter, when it made the emergency landing, that is Donald Trump that was scared white, essentially scared out of his wits. But he said in lieu of that, he found out that actually 6 months earlier, before that emergency landing, Donald Trump really did have a helicopter go down, and that helicopter crashed and killed 3 of Trump's executives. That's what the man just said. So on that note, yeah, that sounds like somebody's in business, maybe trying to cut corners on, on repairs or something, or on expenses, but apparently 3 of Trump's. Let me just see here real quick for the audience. The 3 of Trump's executives die on a helicopter crash. Let me see. I never heard that before, but the man says it's so. And yes, it is true. Let me bring this up here. It says, okay, here. Let me just go ahead and bring it up on the screen here. I can bring that back in a sec. Boom. It actually says this.
Yes, 3 of Donald Trump's executives died in a helicopter crash in 1989. The incident occurred on October 10th, 1989, when a helicopter carrying top executives from Trump's Atlantic City casinos crashed. The victims were 1. Mark Grossinger-Etes, president of the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino. 2. Stephen Hyde, president of the Trump Taj Mahal. 3. Jonathan Beninoff, executive vice president of the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino. The helicopter was en route from Atlantic City to New York City when it went down in a wooded area in northern New Jersey, killing all 5 people on board, including the pilot and co-pilot. Donald Trump was not on the helicopter, but had originally planned to be on the flight. He changed his plans at the last minute, which spared him from being on the ill-fated flight.
Damn. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Hey, Pumpkin. Yo, Donald Trump had 3 executives die in one of his helicopters that crashed 6 months before that phony story he made up about Willie Brown in the helicopter recently, just the other day. Yeah, so there you have it. And that is ill. But it doesn't stop there, because your man Trump, everybody's man Trump except ours on the left and in the center and the left, because you can't tell me that what's going on with the Republican Party is even Republican. It's not even center Republican. It's like extreme right. But that's not the only news, because Trump is so desperate. He's so desperate that he ran to Elon Musk. That must be that's his main, I guess zaddy, you could call him, right? In this case, because Elon they call him the richest man in the world, right? Or at least he's one of them. Donald Trump is definitely not that anymore, and probably never was, but he got some paper. He got paper all of us would want, obviously, but in any case, somebody that got more paper than him, inviting him on his platform, what was formerly called Twitter, the platform formerly called Twitter. Yes, he went over there. It's called X now. And Elon Musk. What do Elon Musk and Trump have in common? What do you think that is? Engineering? Trump got an engineering fetish. Does Trump have what is he? He's into electric cars. No, Trump doesn't seem to like electric cars. So what would it be that connects those two? Oh, I'm just beginning. I'm like, what connects Elon Musk and Donald Trump? Could it just be some corrupt behavior? And one got to scratch the other one's back. What do you think is going on there? Tell me. But in any case, it's looking real strange, and it's probably not having the effect that Donald Trump would want. in terms of the polls. But let's check this out.
Is not available. 5 words and a failure tonight for a much anticipated conversation between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. That X event that everyone was supposed to watch, well, it broke the internet, and not in the Beyonce kind of way. If you are trying to click over to watch that Trump Musk talk, which I believe is still ongoing, for most of the time you couldn't do it for about 40 minutes. And when the interview finally did get underway, Trump went into his normal stump speech, including more Kamala Harris insults. This was, Tara,
All right, so apparently he used that time on the platform to go back to his, inner self and just start hurling insults, at Kamala. And when you really start hurling insults at somebody like that, when that's the only thing you got, the person who's hurling the insults is really, really hurt. Is really, really hurting, because a person that's really, really hurting, but doesn't want it, knows they done wrong, but just don't want to admit it. That's how they show you, by throwing out insults. They can't, show you that they didn't do it. They can't show you anything else. The gig is up, so they just resort to hurling insults, man. That is crazy. But the man seems to think that it's going to help him.
maybe an allegory of what's been going on with the Trump campaign for some time.
Yeah.
40 minutes on hold. They start off, it's meandering.
Now, look, this guy comes into the middle. He doesn't come into the middle. He's there. He's sitting on the panel. But he comes out of right field making these excuses. And watch how this sister breaks him down.
And he's doing exactly what a lot of people are trying to tell him not to do, which is attacking Harris not on substance, but just because she exists.
Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be news. This is what Trump does. He does the complete opposite of what everyone else tells him to do. He's petulant and intransigent, and he thinks that he's his own best campaign manager, consultant, political communications guru, and there's a reason why he's now losing. There's a reason why Kamala Harris, the swing in the polls, that Kamala Harris has overtaken him in swing states. People are tired of this act. It's a Vegas lounge act now. He needs new material. And the insults are something that, particularly for moderates and moderate women who are an important constituency, if Trump thinks he's going to win this time around, they don't want to hear this. And so the people who have been running his campaign are very smart.
Yeah, true. Trump talks like a guy from the 1960s, or excuse my French, but a white suburban guy from the 1960s who basically is used to, being the man, but I'm talking about in the 60s, you had a lot of housewives back then that maybe wasn't given a lot of pushback. And so Trump, he talks like that, like openly foul. And today women hate that. They're not putting up with that stuff anymore. And neither should they ever. But right now, politically, women definitely ain't trying to hear it. Women aren't trying to be in the office hearing some dude talk like that. And when you allow a person to run for president who talks like that, you are, in fact, normalizing that type of speech in the workplace. Why? Because if the president can do it, so can everybody else. And these women, they're smart enough to know that. So indeed, this ticket for them is about, do you want to go back to the 1950s, as a woman? It's really about that. And a person like Donald Trump, he really makes it easy to see. Donald Trump really makes it easy to see. I mean, he can't hide it. You know what I mean? He can't hide it. I don't know how he gets along with women in his day-to-day life, but if I had to guess, I would be guessing like no woman would want to be around him. That would be my guess, but there's more. Pete.
Veteran political operatives, and now they're facing the time, the honeymoon period of keeping a disciplined Trump together is over. This is Donald Trump unleashed. He's going to do what he wants to do, and it's not working for him. And the polls show why it isn't.
I'm going to play.
But he only got that one thing, that one sledgehammer to bang. He's got that one trick. He's a one-trick pony.
A little bit of what he's been saying on this X stream. He talks about Harris.
Oh, everybody, click the like button, please.
And really, it seems to be still grappling with the fact that she's now the candidate and it's not Joe Biden anymore.
They're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden.
It's like watching Grumpy Old Man or something. There's just, I don't mind attacking a person for their policies or their positions, but he's just sort of griping just because
he sounded like a sore loser. This dude was like, I beat Biden. I beat Biden. He's talking about one measly debate. One measly debate. In reality, he's never beaten Biden to an election. You know, and I think in the back of his mind, that must really, really kill him.
she exists, to your point, and I think we know why he's griping, because she exists. She's a black woman. And everything that I've seen in the course of his career, and I know that he has black women in his circle, and I know he's appointed Omarosa and all of that. I know all of that background. But also,
it's karma. You know, Donald Trump has spent so much time dissing women, verbally abusing women, verbally, openly, right? He's been doing this so long, and you've heard it in private, his thoughts about grabbing by the booties. You've heard him say that, right? I mean, Donald Trump has been treating women so poorly that, you know, it's really started to take another hold in people's minds when they start trying to sell the idea and make the idea that, oh, it's just talking, or it's permitted, or, hey, this is just, there's any reason for it. It doesn't matter who's doing it. That kind of talk he's doing is bad.
also know when he's confronted and being held accountable by black women, time and time again.
Indeed. You know, Donald Trump, it pisses him off that it's a woman. It really ticks him off that it's a woman, because he don't like women, period. But if there's one other thing that could just tip the scale, it is, in fact, that it's a black woman, because it's almost like karma. Because this is a guy who thinks who's a supremacist. He's a man supremacist and other things, an ethnic supremacist, a Christian supremacist, whatever you want to call Trump. He's definitely a male supremacist, right? Now, the fact, not just that it's a woman, that would kill him, that it's a woman that beats him in an election. That's his worst nightmare. But if there's one thing that could just be a little bit worse, and that's the fact that Kamala Harris is not even a white lady. That's what's going to kill him worse. He's been talking about immigrant. Well, she has some immigrant background. Yeah. Her family, through her parents, she was born in the U.S., but her family, right. Donald Trump hates that. He hates that, you know. So again, you vitalized and you brought together, they've crystallized something in Kamala Harris. The thing about her being a woman, the thing about her being an immigrant, which MAGA people always talk about. They always talk about it. Then they talk about her background. See, the MAGA people are so stupid. They think that when they point something out that it's bad all the time. No, it's the way you see it might be bad, but if you flip the coin and look at the same thing, you could see it as good. Diverse background, they made fun of her diverse background. Well, guess what? It's a lot of Americans that identify with that. So that crystallizes with them into votes. You see, so all those bad things, the fact that he's talking bad about her because she's a woman, he would always be allowed to talk bad about women because that's Donald Trump. He's been doing it, obviously, his whole life. So now he's facing a woman. He's facing a woman that is galvanized, has crystallized the woman vote. You see, so all those things the MAGA people pointing out, is all gaslighting, trying to make you feel bad about who you are, trying to make you feel like you're just, nothing's possible because, hey, you're a brown person, you're a black person, you're an immigrant, you're this or that. Hey, let me tell you flat out, Sean Hannity, who's first of all, that goddamn Elon Musk is an immigrant, but you don't see Donald Trump is over there, really sniffing his his butt hard. He's an immigrant, but he's sniffing his butt. You know, he got $1 billion. Trump is really knows how to bow down when you got some money. But here's the thing. Sean Hannity, one of the biggest mouthpieces that you have on Fox News, right? He's a second generation immigrant. But that's the MAGA for you. See, they talked about immigrant. Well, guess what? People see immigrant in Kamala Harris, and that galvanizes that support. Talk about women bad. You badmouth women, Donald Trump, that galvanizes women, the woman vote. You see, everything Donald Trump has done has been contrary to what intelligent human being that wants to help society, be a civil servant, would do. It's all opposite of that. But here's the crazy part. His talking, some people allow it to get so normalized that it gets into their brain and they start trying to defend it. And watch what this brother does. Look at the brother here on the left of the screen. He's sitting there listening to the brother on the right, and he's like wincing his eyes. And then check out what he says.
And
Watch.
he is shown to be someone who is uncomfortable in that situation. And I think he's complaining more because it's Kamala Harris, a black woman, than any other factor.
There's nothing that he's saying about her, however, that wasn't actually said by Biden campaign personnel in leaks to the press for months and months before the...
Huh? What the heck is he talking about, man? He just, listen, this is what I'm telling you. Watch.
hot swap unfolded. For literally about 3+ years, you had folks around President Biden who were leaking against, undermining, characterizing Kamala Harris as a disastrous, underprepared.
How do you know this?
Because of extensive reporting,
And
drawing on White House
How come
sources.
former President Trump doesn't know this? If you've known for 3 years this woman was coming.
Watch, he's going to break him off something right here. The brother's going to break him up, but watch the sister. The sister is going to come in and stick her foot up his butt. Watch this.
And now she's here, and you're confused about what to do.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sufficiently clear. What I'm saying is that what he is saying now, when he is diminishing her capacity and what have you, these were all things that were standard talking points coming from Democrats who were anxious about her weaknesses.
Facts, Buccaneer. Exactly, you know.
Now, only over the last month or so has the narrative entirely changed about this because the press no longer felt obliged to protect President Biden.
Are you
So that's how
suggesting
this
then
changed.
this is originating because Donald Trump is following the intel of Democrats, and this is based solely upon the intel of Democrats and not some long-standing representation of how you feel?
Now, he made that all up.
About American people since the 1970s.
Okay, I think what he's suggesting is that this is not just off of what Democrats have said, but Democrats have also said some of the same things Trump has said. And so him saying these things is...
Are they just making this up? Listen to this. Look, a sister's about to come in here and wake their asses up. Watch this.
Something new that no one's ever said before, that she's incompetent. And you can point to the policies. You can look at so many
Watch this. They said they're lying. They flat lying, people.
policies throughout this administration that she has to own that will hurt during the swing states.
The idea, just to be clear, I mean, I understand that maybe there were some Democrats privately who were nervous about Harris, but I don't know that you have Democrats calling her phony, incompetent, third-rate candidate.
That's what I was about to say.
That is well
I must
beyond.
have missed where Democrats called her a bum. I must have missed where they questioned her ethnicity. I must have missed when Democrats called her low IQ and stupid, and all of the litany of awful insults that Donald Trump has levied against Kamala Harris since she's been in the race.
But did you miss
not
when she
forget
couldn't
that
even
he's
get
not-
a couple percentage points in 2020 to make it to the first primary?
This isn't the first time Donald
She wasn't
Trump has-
wildly popular.
It doesn't matter. She's the vice president of the United States, and she's beating Donald Trump right now. So, but what also we are
All
not,
that matters is what
also we're
happens on
forgetting
November 5th.
is that Donald Trump's history of insulting women is very long. As a matter of fact,
And her history
it's
of failing
it's
is long as well when it comes
and
to these
documented
policies that
how many
matter.
times when he was at the bully pulpit, he insulted women
what we know is
journalists
that this-
repeatedly, including you, Abby, who he also called stupid, which you're not. You went to Harvard, and you are far from that. And this is what Donald Trump does. He doesn't like to be held accountable. So because he is now in a position where he now is being held accountable for what he said, we know already that he has a history of being a sexist, and now he cannot
This is base
grapple with the
management.
fact.
These are not the arguments that are actually effective for Kamala Harris.
Oh,
If you
no?
look at the
Why is
recent,
she up
for
11
example,
points?
Reid Hoffman's group Blueprint has described what is effective for Kamala Harris. What is effective for her is taking positions that are the positions that would be endorsed by Joe Manchin and by Bernie Sanders, being perfectly down the line. I will protect Social Security and Medicare. It is not actually attacking Trump. What you guys are doing right now is, helpful
out the
base
facts?
management right now, but it actually isn't something that moves the needle. What you see is actually this kind of
we're
base
just looking at
management
facts.
doesn't actually have much of a material effect. Anti-Trump arguments
Wait a
are
minute.
actually so played out, so tired.
It's an
that
interesting
they're actually
point
not
that
moving the
Reinhardt
needle.
is making about base management on the
He comes off like he just got paid, got the job yesterday to argue these points.
left, but really it seems also that Trump is doing some base management on the right, and there are people in conservative circles who think that the constant attacking of Harris is not working, and this is what they're trying to tell him at this point now publicly.
What's up, Pumpkin? How you doing? Oh, you on mute.
I'm good.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
You good? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I've been reading it. I've been busy, but I've been reading it every chance I
Okay.
get. That's why I send you, because I send it to you. So if you don't see it, yeah, they getting sick of him. People are just. He's actually giving her the election because people are just tired. I'm tired of it. I can't wait for November 5th. I've never seen an election that I wanted to come so bad. I want to get it over with. I hope he goes to jail next week. Well, in September. But I doubt.
Well, I mean, I'm also I think at this point, like, I can understand the idea of that we need more than two political parties. I can understand that in the US because it's not the case in other NATO nations. Other Western nations got many political parties, and they because of that they reach consensus on the important things as a group, as a broad base, but I wouldn't I can't understand for the life of me, even maybe a year or two ago, or 4 years ago, or 8 years ago, I could understand why somebody would say, maybe Trump could be good. But after all this time, now, if a person is like still supporting this guy, first of all, do you support somebody talking to women this way? Because if you support somebody talking to women the way Donald Trump does, then you must support the same kind of talk to your own mother. You know what I'm saying? Your own sister, your own daughter, because this man talks foul. It can't be accepted. That's not normal to speak that foul, openly
That's his
misogynistic.
normal. That's his
Yeah.
normal.
And as you can see, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Pumpkin. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as I told you before, I come from the east, the northeast, the East Coast, and 20 minutes away, the metropolitan area of New York. 20 minutes away, and people up here, we all knew he was a crook. We all knew it. And what sealed the deal for everybody up here is when he put out that ad for the guys, for the Central Park guys, and then after they got exonerated, he said, "Well, they were in the park. They must have done something, so they got charged because they did something. They were in the park." But my thing with that is, I told the girl, I said, you know what? He's on the plane with, he was seen with, what's the guy with the Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein. So
Epstein, right.
he must be human trafficking too, if you're going to
I
go by
mean,
that logic.
well, he said that. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. To me, when I listen to Donald Trump's words and look at those videos when he was with Epstein and all of that, I think if Epstein liked him young, why wouldn't Donald Trump? He's the one hanging out with him. He was good friends with him for 15 years. If that was okay for him to witness and know about a guy and still hang out with that guy, then he must be like that too. That's how I look at it, But check this out. They got more. Listen, let's try to hear a little bit more about Elon Musk and some of the things that they've been saying in these tapes.
Let me say that
Yeah, go ahead.
Elon Musk and him got the same damn thing in common. Both of them stupid as hell, and they both racist. Go ahead.
Oh, there you go. Okay, all right, I got you. Anybody else want to
Bigger
hop
than
up
he
on the
initially.
panel? Anybody can hop up on the panel right now. It's going to be open for a little bit. I got about 40 more minutes, so hop up if you got something to say.
Wanted the public to realize. Now that is according to the Wall Street Journal, which has new reporting on his hands-on push to turn out 800,000 voters for Trump. Musk quietly funded a super PAC back in the spring, but now, with less than 90 days until the election, Musk has overhauled the group's leadership after a series of early stumbles. Let's discuss with Dana Mattioli, the lead reporter behind this Wall Street Journal story and so many others in the tech space and in specific to Elon Musk. First, Dana, explain why he kind of went scorched earth on the super PAC leadership. There's still the expectations of that initial very big goal of turning out 800,000 voters.
Yeah, they have a very ambitious goal. They want to get 800,000 low-propensity voters in these swing states to show up for Donald Trump. But there's a big shakeup of PAC leadership. In July, some operatives from Governor Ron DeSantis's failed presidential bid came in to be involved with the PAC, and the vendors were changed out. And that has had some resulting chaos. They're having to start from scratch less than 90 days before the election.
It's striking, one, because it sounds a lot like how he's operated in some of his business ventures up to this point as well. So on brand, on some level, your reporting made clear that Musk had emphasized to the super PAC and to its leadership a desire for privacy. He'd been upset, I think, by previous reporting from you and your team that revealed he told people he planned to commit about $45 million a month to the group. He was asked about that at one point and said this.
At no point did I say that I was donating $45 million a month to Trump. That was a fiction made up by the Wall Street Journal.
Damn.
You guys have
He said that was fiction made up by Wall Street journalists.
done plenty of reporting around both before and after, but more, why did he want to keep his extent, the extent of his involvement quiet?
He did not want to be the face of this PAC. He actually went to lengths to hide his involvement. So for instance, when you look at the first federal filings from the PAC, he's not listed as a donor, and that was by design. He didn't want to make his first donation to the PAC until after July 1st, so it wouldn't appear until the October filings. In the interim, he lined up friends and other Republican donors to fill the void of funding so that the PAC could pay its expenses in that first quarter.
They don't seem to do nothing the right way, It just seems like they go on and on. Let me see something. There was some audio they had here, though. Can I find it real quick? Is this it? Sorry, y'all. 2 seconds. There's some audio they play. Is this it?
Crowds and be part of this platform where it's been viewed as more Republican friendly.
Yeah, as well. It's going to be definitely a push for them.
Oh, that wasn't the audio. Sorry. Let me see. I can't find this audio. I thought. Oh, wait a second. I know where it is. It's right here. Sorry, I got to put it up. It's on the browser. Let me see here. Boom. Is it this one? This one? Here we go.
Musk's
The other vendors, and there had 8,500 new voter registrations that were signed up through their website that they didn't mail out the forms because the vendor was fired. So there are definitely things
into the sunset.
Summer in Britain.
Oh, 2 seconds.
Trump saying this about Musk.
Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Nah, he's got himself a mess. He said the other day, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another artist, but he's not going to be buying it.
But just after the assassination attempt against Trump, Musk endorsed the former president, and Trump now has a different tune.
I respect Elon a lot. He respects me.
And Musk is backing up his endorsement with cash, though the figures have been in dispute.
Elon Musk has started a super PAC for Donald Trump. The figures have been thrown out. He's refuted a figure of $45 million a month that he's thrown out.
Donald Trump's interview with Elon Musk and the recent inroads that Trump has made with the tech industry come at an important time. Kamala Harris has just returned to San Francisco for the first time since clinching the Democratic nomination, and she held a successful fundraiser there over the weekend, giving the Democrats real hope that Silicon Valley will support Harris more than it supported President Biden. Wolf?
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Is this it? Can you see it? Oh, okay. Hold on. What you said, Bev? Let me read it.
guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands. Somebody that building should have been covered. And
I mean, I think that
thing.
That building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick what is the favorite, so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building.
You're right.
That building would be #1.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better location. It's like
no, that would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local policeman, who by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And
instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America. And I think that is America. That is strength under fire. And so that's, a big, part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place.
Yeah. Well, in any case, the reports say that he basically just talked a whole lot of the same flack. And and this is the thing about listening to Donald Trump. It's boring to listen to him, but it's the outrageous things that he says that makes people want to listen. But outside of that, he's a really boring communicator. But so whew. But what do you think about that, Bev? What do you think about that? Just Trump jumping over to Twitter to do that interview. I mean, you think it's going to have any effect, any positive effect?
No, because nobody likes Elon. Nobody likes whatever. However you say Elon Musk, nobody don't like him. You're all of them crazy, if you ask me.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think he got a lot of. I think when you're on the internet, it almost looks like there's a lot of support because of the trolls, but the trolls make the internet people look bigger than they are. Basically, it's really a lot more of that for the MAGA side. Trolls, and it's really crazy that it's there. I guess they can't do much about it, but in any case, y'all, there's more to it.
Before Biden-Harris gave way to Harris-Walz. Speaking of Walz, John King is at the Magic Version with.
Here's the data. So after all those shenanigans, all the just reaching, Hail Mary runs that Trump tried to do in this last week, this is what the data looks like.
More. John, so how has the vice president on the Democratic ticket changed the race in battleground states, or has it?
Some numbers in a moment, Anderson, but first let's just start with this. I have the map this way because we are now back in what we thought at the beginning of the year, before Biden's debate, before the questions about his age, that this would be the state of the race, right? 6 essentially battleground states. After that debate, remember, the Trump campaign was saying, we're going to put New Mexico in play, we're going to put Virginia in play, we're going to put New Hampshire in play, we're going to run away with this. That was the mood after the Biden-Trump debate. Well, Biden's gone. Harris is the candidate now. So at a minimum, we have reset the map to a traditional battleground state. But remember, after those last debates, it was Trump could win here, Trump could win here, and Trump could win here. Not only did the polls show that, and I'll bring them up, Anderson, but we talked about that after all of my travels into those states. So let's just look a little May and now. Trump ahead in Pennsylvania, you're exactly right. This is no clear leader statistically within the margin of error, but Trump had momentum. This Michigan poll, New York Times, Siena had Biden ahead slightly. I can tell you from my travels, Trump had momentum there as well. And Wisconsin tighter, but Trump with momentum. The question is, don't believe any one poll. Which way is the arrow pointing? Who has the momentum? Well, look at this in August now. Harris up a little bit within the margin of error, but in Pennsylvania, up a little bit more in Michigan, up a little bit more in Wisconsin. So what does that mean? That means if the election were tomorrow and the energy and momentum you see out there right now played out, you would get that. And even if Harris lost Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona, she could get to 270 electoral votes. So those 3 states, the blue wall, make all the difference in the Democratic calculation. If she is strong in these, it opens up the possibilities across the Sun Belt.
John, let me just ask you, I mean, when polling says that, that margin of error, though, in those states seemed really big, do those polls then matter? I mean, isn't it essentially still then a toss-up between them?
It is a very competitive race. We cannot say that enough. A very competitive race. And we lived through 2016. We lived through 2020. You should expect a very competitive race. Polling is you poll 800 or 1,000 people in a state. Some polls do 500 people. The statisticians run the margin of error. That shows no clear leader. We're especially cautious here at CNN how we characterize polling. So this is how I do it. Do not believe any one poll. Any one poll is a snapshot. But when you see a bunch of polling, which way, right? Does somebody have clear momentum? Is it a straight line or is it going like this? Right now, in the spring, when I was coming back from those travels, it was going that way for Donald Trump. Right now, it's all Harris everywhere.
One significant change regarding.
Yo, Pumpkin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You know what? I mean, people should be concerned and make sure you vote. Do whatever you can do to vote, right? To make sure you have the process down. Everything is taken care of. Make sure you registered and everything. But check this out. Go out and vote. But my instinct right now is I think it's going to be heavily in favor on election night for Harris. I think she's going to get a lot more support than even this. And because I think Americans are tired of Donald Trump. And I think they want something new. And I think Harris definitely represents something new. You see?
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly. Everybody's sick of him. Everybody's sick of him. He's being sued by everybody.
He's being sued by everybody.
Yeah, Isaac Hayes III and his family.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. His family's suing him. His family's suing him for the son.
Don't take everything down and apologize publicly on all the platforms he went on. They will be suing him for $100 million for every count. You got to read it. I was like,
yeah, we read it. I read it. I just read it earlier when I first went live. Okay. I read it. Yeah, and it's a lot. Yeah, man, and he's going to get a settlement.
Wait a minute, and Celine Dion ain't too pleased with him either.
Oh, right. Tell me about that. What happened with Celine?
Some song is about a sinking ship. He played it. I forget where he played it. And he played it. She's like, I'm not endorsing anyone. I didn't give him any permission. And she's a Canadian, and that lady been sick. She don't need no aggravation.
Right. Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like it's going too well for Trump, and I think he's a one-trick pony, and I think people are just going to see it. It's just a matter of a few more weeks, some more time. And
how many more weeks? It looked like months, years to me. I can't wait for it to be gone.
It's 2 months, basically. It's 2 months from, roughly. Yeah, exactly.
2 months. Wow.
Let me see.
Oh yeah, because the 5th is September. September 5th. October 5th. It's 2 months.
It's around 2 months. It's roughly 2 months, right?
2 months.
That's 83 days. It's 83 days.
So that's 2 months and some weeks.
Yep, 2 months and maybe 2 weeks.
About 3 weeks.
Something like that.
Well, I guess you can't come fast enough. And I hate for November to come because it get cold where I'm at. It gets cold around here. But I can't wait for it to come. This time. I'm so sick of him. Every time, everything is him, him, him. He lies, he lies, he lies. Everything is, she did this, I didn't say that. You could hear that man. That man could come and stand in your face and say something, and he'll swear he didn't tell you. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just
Facts.
get it.
All right, let's see a little bit more of this data real quick.
It's doing a great series on the 53%, right? The 53. Why? Women are 53% of the population, the voting population, roughly. So if you want to get votes, why don't you go to the big buckets of votes, right? If you can get more women to vote for you, they're a larger slice of the electorate. Look at this. May 2024, again, the battleground polls by New York Times, Siena. Trump and Biden, Trump ahead by 14 points there among men, running roughly even among women. Now look at this. Harris up 20 points, about the same margin among men. Trump still winning among men. But look at this. So you're talking now about Harris's vote in the cities has come up. Harris's vote in the suburbs has come up. You have a woman candidate, a woman of color at the top of the ticket. At the moment, it is making a very big difference in the change in the race.
I think it will be. I think it is. And, like he pointed out, women are the majority. They're the majority in the voters. So, and then we talked about this before. I mean, this is one of the special moments of Donald Trump. He thinks he's cursing these journalists, the black women journalists, black Associated Press journalists, right? He thought he was, straightening them out with his language, right? But all he did was prove what people already know, essentially, and that is that he is a misogynist. And here's the thing. Also, on top of that, he's asked the lady about DEI. I have to say this again. And women, guess what that means? They want reform in the workplace. We talked about some of the details. If you're a woman, you have a body, that means you can carry a baby for 9 months, right? But can you work all those 9 months? Is it wise to work all those 9 months? What kind of job can you work for those 9 months? Where should the law provide some protections, or the commune, the state? On what level should they provide protections? Because a woman has to stop working at some point. Most women do, right? Does that put them at risk of being fired? If it does, more often than men, then that's an inclusion issue. That's an equity inclusion issue, a diversity, equity, inclusion issue. And guess who's voting? That's who's voting. So strategically, I don't even think it's strategically. I think it's just Donald Trump and those MAGA folks are some damn fools. Because you can't say strategically they beat themselves, because that would make it seem like they're thinking their way through the process. And they're not. They're just full of emotion. They don't think through anything. They don't read through the language. You see, it's almost like they're not comprehending the language. And I can understand that, because that's a hurdle of every activist, to kind of understand the language of law, right? When it comes to your rights. That's a hurdle that every activist has to take on his own, and every adult too, for that matter, right? But in this case, I feel like MAGA folks, they don't get that. They don't get the language, and so they perceive and interpret everything in the wrong ways and get emotional about it. So, but let me flip. But kudos to the women out there. Hold on, let me see. Did he say one more thing? Let's check it.
And what about ad spending? How much have the campaign spent in ad sales since Biden stepped aside, and actual campaign stops? Who's gone where?
Forgive me for turning my back to stretch this out, but there's been more talk today from a pro-Trump super PAC that you're going to see even more money come in, but this is where we are right now. This tells you both campaigns agree. Look at all the spending in Pennsylvania. It's about evenly matched. Tells you both campaigns agree. Pennsylvania's a huge battleground. But then Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, North Carolina, and Nevada. The Democrats behind in North Carolina, waiting to see if they really mean it, waiting to see if the Harris campaign will put significant money into North Carolina.
All right, so they were talking about the money they spent so far. So far it's pretty even, but look, that's just 33 million so far. That's wild. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. All right, let's see here. Check these polls right here, and then we call it. a day. Anybody can hop up, and let me know how you feel or what's going on.
No doubt. It's also showing up in new polling that we want to bring to you today, showing the Democratic ticket has made some gains in some battleground states. What does momentum look like in the polls? Harry Hinton is here. What do you think?
What am I seeing? So these were these New York Times Siena College polls that came out over the weekend. And look, this is Democrat versus Trump margin. This is May, Biden versus Trump. You see plenty of red on this side of your screen, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, of course, that quote unquote blue wall. This was back in May. You saw Trump up by 3, Trump up by 1 in Wisconsin, Biden up by a single point in Michigan. The trend line here is what's so important. So let's jump ahead from May to August. We go from some red on this side of the screen. Look at all this blue on this side of the screen. Pennsylvania, Harris by 4. Wisconsin, Harris by 4. Michigan, Harris by 4. So you're seeing those comments on Trump on social media kind of going bananas, and you're wondering why. It's because he's looking at polling data like this, which shows clear momentum from Donald Trump to Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's got out of the race. I'll note still no clear leader up here, but you would much rather be Pennsylvania, Harris by 4. Wisconsin, Harris by 4. Michigan, Harris by 4. So you're seeing those comments on Trump on social media kind of going bananas, and you're wondering why. It's because he's looking at polling data like this, which shows clear momentum from Donald Trump to Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's got out of the race. I'll note still no clear leader up here, but you would much rather be Kamala Harris up by 4 within the margin of error than Joe Biden down by 3 in Pennsylvania, down 1 in Wisconsin, and only up by 1 in Michigan within the margin of error. These are 3 to 5 point movements towards the Democratic ticket. Clear momentum and coalescing the Democratic base. So look, in Biden this spring, he was getting only 90% of the voters who voted for him back in 2020. Look at it now. What do we see? We see Kamala Harris is getting 93% of those voters. So we see that momentum. The other thing that we see is those untraditional voters. Those voters, there's all this talk that Donald Trump was going to get these voters off the sidelines and get them to vote for him who didn't vote in 2020. Back in the spring, look at that. Joe Biden was only getting 28% of the 2020 non-voters. Look at where Kamala Harris is now. She's getting 43% of those voters, a 15-point jump. So Kamala Harris is doing 2 things here. Number 1, she's getting more of those untraditional voters. And number 2, she's coalescing that Democratic base.
Are you seeing signs in other polling of the Harris momentum as well?
Yeah, okay. So if it's just one poll, I'm not that interested. But take a look here. This is among those certain to vote. This is the Democrat versus Trump in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. This is an Ipsos poll that came out last week. Look at this, the June margin, Biden versus Trump. We see Trump was up by 2, very similar to what we saw in those New York Times Siena College polls. Look at where we are now in this August margin. Look at that, +2 for Harris. So again, a 4-point movement towards Harris, again within the margin of error. And the last thing I'll note, look at this. If Harris just wins up in the Great Lakes, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, she can lose Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia, and she gets to exactly 270 electoral votes.
All right, so momentum it is today.
Momentum it is.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Crowd size from Donald Trump, and even more talk about Kamala Harris's race and childless cat ladies from his running mate, J.D. Vance. Just a few of the new and familiar lines of attack we heard this weekend as Donald Trump tonight sits down for an interview with Elon Musk. Let's bring in CNN's Steve Contorno. Steve, some Republicans want to see a more disciplined, as you heard from Isaac Dovere, message from Trump going after Harris. But is that what they're getting?
Certainly doesn't seem so far, Sarah. I think scattershot is probably the best word to describe what we saw from the former president over the weekend. He made.
Wait a second. I forgot, y'all. I forgot. Oh, my goodness. There's one story I forgot. Scoop, before I go off, yo. Check this out. Look at this. Donald Trump Epstein's plane. Did y'all hear about this? Did you hear about this? Where's this at? Hold on. Let me see something here. Peep this.
Stock footage doesn't have
It's
the best.
crazy. It's this one. It is insane. Y'all not going to believe this. This man got some nerve.
90s. They were very close friends.
Check this out.
Can we talk for a second about the fact that Donald Trump is flying around right now in Jeffrey Epstein's former jet, and Donald Trump is campaigning on the Epstein plane? Seems like a pretty big deal, right? So the tail number of the plane has changed, but the serial number, which stays with the hull, has not changed. And so we're able to see that it is indeed the same exact plane. Here's Jeffrey Epstein in front of his Gulfstream 550 Aero. Here's Donald Trump. He's now put Trump 2024 over the same Gulfstream that Jeffrey Epstein used to traffic women in. Folks, let's just take a look at the data so we can see it for ourselves. You'll see that Jeffrey Epstein's plane had a different tail number than what it currently is. But as you take a look at the serial number, take a look right here at the serial numbers and you'll compare them. The serial number 5173, compare it to the serial number right now, 5173, and you'll see that it is the same Gulfstream 550 plane. You put them side by side, undisputed, same plane. So what happened is that Epstein's plane sold in 2020 to a friend of Donald Trump's and a Trump donor. It sold for $16.9 million in July of 2020. The New York Post wrote about it there, and apparently this is how Donald Trump has now gotten his hands on that plane, and Trump is flying around in that plane. As this one account says, the tail number N212JE, the same plane belonged to Jeffrey Epstein, which was purchased by a friend of Donald Trump's. The same account said, is anyone going to ask Donald Trump why he was flying on Jeffrey Epstein's plane on Saturday and campaigning in it, and why it now has the Trump Vance names on it, or it says Trump 2024. We're going to call it out, and we're going to question it here at the Midas Touch Network, and we're going to just show people the facts, and people can assess for themselves. And I think that Donald Trump is flying around in Epstein's jet currently. Just think about it. There's a lot of G550s out there.
Yeah, Andrea, can you believe that?
No, well, I'm not surprised with anything he does. Not a thing. I mean, I think now, I don't know if he has done this or not. I don't know if he's had an opportunity to do this or not, but unless he did it to one of those ladies that used to be doing whatever. I just think he's just mad at black women because he ain't been able to grab them by, what?
It's possible.
That's what I think the problem is.
It might be.
That's what I think. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
When it comes to us, he goes way out there on the limb.
Yeah.
The
But
only one I can think of that might have let him do it is the one he had on his Apprentice show. But I ain't trying to throw her on his bus, so I don't know if he did or not.
right. Only they know. We have to wait to hear from him to see if that's Omarosa. But check this out. Would you? I'll put her name up here. But check it out. What did you think about the story? Trump lying about the helicopter crash. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did. I just think again, they think all black people look alike. I just to change story. I go to this water aerobics class. Okay. Mm-hmm. They kept calling me by somebody else's name. Of course, I didn't answer back because I didn't know who the hell. I didn't even know they were calling this lady. I look nothing like her. Nothing.
Right.
And they just think all black people look alike. I'm like, stop it. He know damn well who he was referring to on No Good Dirty Dog. He know who it was. He just wanted that name that she was associated with to be something he put out there. That's why he did that.
Right. Yeah. He's so vile.
That's
narcissistic. Yeah, that's narcissistic though. Very crafty and always, they know. I guess they know how to play. They know how to appeal to people's lowest self. And you're right. You're right. That was an excellent breakdown. Excellent. Made. Yeah, but and by the way, the guy that was in the plane with him, he turns out to be pretty well developed also. Hold on, I'm gonna put you on mute. You there? Yeah, because you got some wind in the background, Andrea. But the guy, the man that he was there with, his name is Nate Holden. He's actually a pretty well off developer, I believe. I heard them say that actually. So it also Trump, he didn't even mention that, the real guy was on the plane with him talking about a development project. So, and it happens to be a black guy. Now, how can you confuse a guy like that with someone you don't know, right, Andrea? But as you said, it was political. He wanted to connect it to somebody Kamala knew, just so he
Mm-hmm.
just so he could get at her. That is so vile. That
Yeah.
is so vile. I mean, how could anybody accept that as
Yeah.
being? Yeah, you can't tolerate that. You can't tolerate that. This man has no boundaries. He has no.
None.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
why he likes the poorly educated and he likes the poor maggot people because
Mhm.
they speak that simple, when you're only repeating just a few words 100 times over and over and over again,
Mhm.
the brain cells don't have to work. They don't have to do anything. But when
Right.
you're out there trying to really put a message out there, you got more words in your vocabulary. This man has no ability to do any of that.
The enthusiasm around the
Right.
news. Well,
Right. You still there? You finished?
Yes.
And check this out. What did you think about what did you think about hold on, did they show this data later? What did you
Yeah, I'm
think
getting
about
an
this
echo.
data
Is
right
that
here?
you or me?
Uh let me check. I think that might be that's you. I believe that's
Hmm.
you. Um
Go
but
ahead.
what did you think about this data he put up about, was it this one? They put up some data about women voters
Mm-hmm.
and saying that they were the majority. They're the majority of voters.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think? You think that's going to have an impact on this election?
If women decide that they don't want to be considered, subservient, yes, it should have
Mm,
a huge impact. But
mm,
if you're going to sit there and support somebody like that, you think has your best interest at heart, and he doesn't, then you're going to get what you get. You know,
mm,
those of us
mm-hmm,
who are in our relationships, who have already established that we're not subservient to these patriarchal, misogynistic mindsets, we're not changing that.
mm-hmm.
That's not going to change for those women. But those who choose to go down that road, if they choose to do that, then you get what you get, and you can't blame nobody. Vote for
Right.
your own best interest. They do not care. That's why that Make America Great Again. They know what that means. It doesn't mean make us great because we fell from somewhere. It doesn't mean that.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't mean
No, it doesn't.
any of those things that they try to conjure up in our heads to make people believe that, oh, we're really for trying to make America great. No, you're not. You want to take us back to a time where you all were in control to do what you want to do with people the way you want to. And anybody, whether black, I don't care if it's black women or white, I don't care what color woman it is. You go out there and you go ahead and vote for that fool if you want to. Go right ahead. You're gonna have a rude awakening.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I think it's coming. And you know, I'm happy. I'm happy that women are doing something about that because obviously a lot of men agree with this, agree we're happy to support Kamala Harris's candidacy and understand what it means to women, right? But also
Mm-hmm.
the policies that they're talking about and understanding what that means to a lot of people, right? And so for me it's just like a no-brainer, but it's really so sad to see how many people don't get it. Like
Yep.
you only live in this moment at a time, one moment at a time, and the reality is that this Kamala Harris may very well be the first female president of the United States of America, of its entire history. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge deal for women all over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
All I know it sounds. Some people might be like, "Ah, nah, what do you mean all over the earth?" Yeah, once you travel outside of the U.S., you start seeing how far that message goes from the
Exactly.
U.S. How far it reaches. You know what I mean? And so people will feel the effects of that. Women, they're going to be proud. across the
Yep.
globe. That's a monumental feat, So I don't think Donald Trump or these MAGA people or their supporters understand how hard women are going to work for this and how hard Kamala Harris is going to work for it too. But the women, period, they're going to give their best shot. You see? So I have no
Yep.
doubt she's going to be the next president.
Yeah, and it's gonna take a lot for it not to come out that way, because they're already trying to cheat to get it to make it happen, right? Because they don't care
Right.
about the outcome. They are, they're not cheating, they're not trying. That's what their slogan ought to be, because they're
That is
already,
the slogan.
from what they're doing with the, trying to suppress voters. I can't hold on. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. You can see it written all over. You can see it. I mean, they're trying to disqualify people from the voter registration and stuff like that. When we've been doing this all this time, this is not new.
Yep. They're actively trying to do it. But as one of the election workers pointed out, that's almost like Mission Impossible, because there's so many checks and balances in the counting system that it's designed so you can't cheat it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the crazy part. Of these people are imbeciles. Like the fact that they were trying to look at Giuliani's ass. He just lose everything. If he ever had any money, he lost it. But he just lost the biggest settlement for lying about the last election, lying on saying that they were doing something with the ballots when all they were doing was passing a piece of bubble gum, a mother to a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that insane?
It's insane, but they're already doing that. They're already trying to drop. They got this True the Vote thing here in Texas.
Yes.
They're
I heard about that.
Yeah, trying to take the vote that way. So
And
we're all
look,
gonna have to constantly check to make sure we're still registered voters.
and check this out. She's even skimming money from off the top of the pat herself. I heard she got in trouble for that too, this rich lady, for skimming money. I mean, so it is a really small circle, I think, of billionaire money that's paying for all this illicit activity.
Right.
Essentially. Yeah. Welcome to election 2024.
Yeah, because they're doing that in Georgia too. They don't. It's like they don't give a damn. They don't care what they. If they're not cheating, they're not trying. That's all you can say with that, because there's no reason that any of that stuff should be happening, from them being allowed to close voting polls. They shouldn't be allowed to do any of that.
No.
But if they're not cheating, they're not trying, and they have the nerve to try to point the finger at other people or other political parties or whatever. It's just shameful. It's shameful. But they claim we're supposed to be the country where everybody has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they keep trying to take that away from the people who they don't think have a right to vote. I mean, that dude out in North Carolina, he wants it to go back where women can't vote, period.
Yes.
The brother.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yep. That's what he said.
He wants it to go back that far. I'm like,
he said something paramount to that. He said something paramount to that. But yeah, Mark Robinson, the governor. Yeah, lieutenant governor.
North Carolina, jackass.
Yeah, I think he's a lieutenant governor. But this guy, and he's the reparations guy, the one who said African Americans should be the ones paying reparations. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He's out there, and that's Trump's. That's a Trump. Trump hit the pavement for him. Trump canvassed for him. Trump went out and endorsed him.
Yeah.
Trump came down there to endorse the guy. That's a big thing. So it kind of shows you like something really bad is going on. The circle of bigots is getting smaller and smaller, and I think they're at the point now where it's they kind of expose themselves, and it is what it is. It is what it is, and you know what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to stop the election. That's the main thing. They're going to try to call foul. they're going to try to, take the elections. But we know that ain't going to work. Because because everybody knows who they dealing with. The man who tried to do it already. Already that. So I'll be damned if it's going to happen twice. You ain't going to get away with it twice. You see, that is a no go. But
And
on that,
that's the
go ahead.
I was going to say that's the reason why that governor stepped out of VP race. Did you know that? The governor of North Carolina stepped down to be considered as vice president because I didn't know that their state doesn't include the governor and lieutenant governor on the same ticket. He was duly elected, and the lieutenant governor was duly elected. So that if he stepped down, he would have, it would have been. Well, I think it still would get handed to them anyway. But he said, I can't afford to let that happen. He left the country one time, and that he did something. He wrote some kind of something into effect, and he had to hurry up and come back. He talked about that when somebody interviewed him, asked him, why did you step down? Or why did you, back off of being considered as vice president? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I think I heard it vaguely, but yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's going to keep on happening too, apparently. I think, well, nobody can predict how fast anything happens, but I think we're going to be witnessing the Republican Party like squirm for a long time. They're finishing themselves. I think this is the last blow because you can't, when you have ethics and morals and you commit to those things, and then a person like Donald Trump comes along and makes you cross and go back on every moral, and cross every line of ethics. Once you do that, there is no going back professionally. Your career is shot. When you meet Donald Trump and you work with him and get caught up in one of those scandals, your career is over. It's over. You got a small circle of billionaires. Once you leave that circle, it's over. It's done. But hey, Pumpkin, you want to say something before I chime out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they got what they wanted. They didn't want Hillary. They couldn't give it to Hillary, so they got what they wanted. Good for them. The Republican Party is done. They just done. I hope so. But anyway, I got a bad, so I'm gonna go.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for hopping up, Pumpkin and Andrea, as usual. Both of y'all, I appreciate the insights. And wow, it's just been crazy watching this, but it's going to be more. We got months of craziness to watch. So so it's looking up. Can you imagine being entertained for free like this?
You do? You think you're gonna attack people?
No,
I don't think our brain cells can handle too much more.
You think they're gonna attack like they did in 22 January 6th? Do you
try the second time and think one of those the police won't be shooting the second time around? Nah, they more beefed up now. If there's anybody that's going to get beat bad, it is somebody that tries to invade the Capitol on that on that day on January 6th. They're going to get hurt this time.
And then and mind you, VV, these are folks who claim that they're Christians, and their Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill." I mean, get to that part. If they're going to take all that stuff literally, your Bible says you shouldn't be killing nobody. You shouldn't be acting and behaving the way you do. Jesus wouldn't. Jesus said, love your enemies. He didn't tell you go out there and try to strike your enemies down and hang gallows and say, hang Mike Pence and hang Nancy Pelosi. You're not supposed to be doing stuff like that. I mean, they don't live by one iota of what anything says about how they're supposed to do what they're supposed to be doing.
It's extremists. They're extremists, basically. They're extremists. And so whatever they are, Christian or anything else, it's like they're definitely extremists, and that becomes, when you become an extremist, it becomes everybody else's problem. Then, that's the thing. So, but I hear you. Like, it's not, I mean, I don't want to say what is or isn't Christian like, but I thought that's what it said, right? Thou shalt not kill. Right?
And it did say, and bear false witness. You're not supposed to be lying.
Exactly. I mean, that's all good stuff.
If you get to be literal, you're not supposed to be out there lying on people You're not supposed to be saying stuff like that. You're not supposed to be doing stuff like that. If you believe that is which is what most Christians and evangelicals do, they believe that those words written are literal, and they're supposed to be living by those literally. But for some reason, when it comes to lying and when it comes to killing or murdering, they don't have no problem with those two. They'll tear that out the book and say, no, I won't say that. Love your enemies. You claim Jesus. Jesus said, love your enemies. Do good to them that despitefully use you. Pray for them. That's what your Bible says. But no, y'all don't want to do that either. Tear that page out. Tear it out. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out some stuff that they say that man Mark Robinson said we need to be killing people. How you gonna how you say, oh, I love Jesus. Jesus, my Lord and Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I love it. No, you don't. That's just lip service.
Yeah,
because
and then
it
they
said
would.
with the same sword that you try to kill somebody by, you're gonna die by that same one. So
Oh,
you out
okay.
here wanting to just murk people left and right.
But let
I'm
me
just
ask you
saying.
one other
I'm
thing.
good.
Let me ask you one thing
Uh-huh.
about that, right? Now Donald Trump at the what is it, Black Journalists Association meet,
National
right?
Association of Black Journalists. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. When they had that, one of the journalists asked Donald Trump, what did he think about the sister that was just killed in her home? What's the sister's name? Pumpkin? What's her
Sonya,
name?
Sonia Massey.
Right,
Sonia
Sonia Massey.
Massey.
Right now, and she asked Donald Trump what did he think about that, and he was like, well, he doesn't know much, but he heard about it, but he doesn't know much, but what he heard he didn't like, and then he went into this long cop-splaining thing where he went about, well, but you don't want to, if it was just a mistake, a split second reaction, you don't want to, that would be a person you would want to help if it was just a mistake. He said that for like a whole
Mm-hmm.
minute explaining all of that. And that 2 seconds he spent 2 seconds saying, oh, I didn't like it. But then he used a whole minute explaining why, yeah, but if it was just a mistake, you have to defend the officer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear him say that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I heard him.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like, so he dodged it because they need to ask him again. Now, have you had time to see the tape? What do you think, Donald Trump? Because he dodged that question. He didn't answer it. And I mean, how could he be going there to that meeting and not have seen it? They didn't prepare him to see it. They didn't say, hey, Donald, they're going to ask you about this. You might want to see it because I'm sure they're going to ask you. They didn't prepare him at all, apparently, right? You see what I mean? That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
He saw it.
Yeah.
He saw
and
the
they
tape.
also didn't remind him. Yeah. They
go
also
ahead.
didn't remind him. You had a phone call with the governor from about during the riots of George Floyd's murder. You were on the phone saying you did a great job. Good job.
Exactly.
Good job, Brad.
Yeah, he did say that about Harris's running mate. He said Tim Walz did a great job during those riots. Yeah, Walz. Yeah, he did a great job during those riots. And what was it, Minnesota? Was it Minnesota?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or was it? Yeah, exactly. So he congratulated him on that. And then now his VP is dissing him on his military record, 40-year military record. What the heck?
Yeah, but you notice they ain't saying too much about that anymore. I don't know if Pumpkin is noticing that. They ain't saying too much about that anymore about, what about Minnesota burning? They ain't saying too much anymore because they got that telephone call that he's like, man, great job. They can't talk that point no more.
Yep.
Oh, what you mean when the guy that was with him spoke up for him? Is that what you're talking about?
No, when he was talking to Tim Walz as far as how well he handled the situation up there when George Floyd was murdered, and they said Minnesota was burning, was on fire because all the protests and stuff like that. And but he gets on the phone with him and says, "You did such a great job. You called out the National Guard and you did this. You handled it so yeah." He forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that. Hey, crazy. I don't believe.
I Danmark har vi 8.500.
But you do such a good show, DB. I'm just complimenting you. You do such good work. Your commentary is great, and all the stuff you try to bring forward is just great. And I appreciate it. I like coming out here. So
I do too.
I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that so much, Andrea, and also you, Pumpkin. I appreciate both of y'all so much. But You know how important it is. And look, check it out. It's our tax money. It's our country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our vote counts. That's the one thing that does count. And I'll be damned if I'm not going to make mine count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see?
But also real quick,
I advise everybody else to take interest in the government, because government should be working for us.
Yeah, the next thing we got to do is get them people like
say that again.
Taylor Green out. You got to get all the people out, but first, don't get him in the office, and then get all those people out. When we vote, everybody should just vote straight Democratic and get all of them out. Who knows? All right, I'm done.
Oh, hey, there's one that you shouldn't be, Bennett. There's a guy running against Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia. A brother.
Oh, really?
Running against her. Yes, I can't think of his name right now, but he's a retired brigadier general who's running against Marjorie Taylor Greene in her district. Yes.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you, Vic. I'll send it to you. I know who she's talking about. I can't remember his name either, but I do know who she's talking about.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. It's major.
Brigadier general.
It's a brigadier general?
Retired brigadier general.
General he is, but he's after her. That's
is it Clarence Blablock?
Might be. Sound like it.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
I think I sent it to you, Vic. I think I sent it to you. Look.
Okay. I'm gonna check.
You go back and look. I think.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. No problem. All right. In the meantime, I'm gonna let everybody have a good evening. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get on to my too. And I appreciate everybody for coming out. You guys for hopping up on the panel. And anybody else that want to hop up on the panel next time, feel free. We're always willing to talk about the political situation in the U.S., whether it's international or national news. So on that note, I'm going to be out. Everybody be good. Take it easy.
To me and dear to me, the ones that's been there for my whole life, the ones that came later in my life. I appreciate all the blessings God has given me, and I want to repay it to you like this. Clap your hands, everybody.